Hey guys, Lewis here, and in this video I'm going to do a Pimsleur Japanese review. So specifically I'm going to answer 3 questions about Pimsleur Japanese. So if you're considering buying the Pimsleur Japanese course, you need to know this. So the first question is Pimsleur Japanese actually worth it? Can you expect to become fluent rapidly in 5 months using Pimsleur Japanese? The second question is, well, if you can actually become fluent in those 5 months, then what kind of results can you expect? Like what degree of fluency can you expect? And how long is it going to take? Do you have, how much time do you have to invest in every single day during those 5 months? And also the last question I'm going to answer is can you get the best price for Pimsleur Japanese? Because right now I'm going to go on the Pimsleur website and you're going to see that the courses are actually pretty expensive. If I go here to the Japanese course, you will see that there are 5 levels. So this is why I'm talking about 5 months in total. But 5 levels, it's almost $600. So it's very expensive, but fortunately I'm going to show you a way that you can get this for actually much less. So it's going to be about $15 to $20 a month, depending on when you watch this video. If you want to have access to this huge sort of discount, it's not really a discount, it's like a different plan. You can actually take a look at the link in the description, but I'll talk about this a little bit later in the video. But so the first question I want to answer is it worth it? And you may be wondering, well, who are you to actually decide whether or not Pimsleur Japanese is worth it? Well, I'm actually fluent in Japanese. I've been studying it for now 6 years and a half, I would say. And I've also learned English to a pretty high level. I hope you'll agree that I'm pretty decent at English, even though my native language is French. And I've tried actually learning many other languages, like Chinese and German, and I've actually failed. And, for some of them, it was a question of just I didn't have the motivation. But for a lot of them, it was because I actually did not have the right method. So I have a good idea of how what kind of methods are actually effective, actually work for people. So just to give you a short introduction on Pimsleur. So basically Pimsleur, it's one of the best established courses on the internet. It actually existed before the internet, and actually it's from a guy called Pimsleur. He was a researcher in the domain of applied linguistics, I think it is. Yeah, that's right. And so he developed the Pimsleur language system, language learning system. And so the Pimsleur series is actually not really like his company. It's from, I don't remember exactly the company's name, but it's based on this guy's research. Oh, so the company is actually Simon and Schuster. It's a pretty big company apparently, but so it's based on his research on his system. That's what Pimsleur essentially is. Just to give you more of a practical idea of what it's going to be like studying with Pimsleur, it's essentially an audio course. Although nowadays they're going to give you a lot more, like you have an app, you have an online platform through which you can learn, but really the main component, the main aspect of the Pimsleur program is you get audio lessons. And in the case of the Japanese course, there are actually 5 levels. Each level is about 30 lessons. So 30 lessons, it's 1 lesson a day. They explicitly tell you to do 1 lesson a day, and 1 lesson is 30 minutes. So if you're looking to actually complete the Pimsleur Japanese course, it's going to take you 5 months for the 5 levels, 30 lessons per level, so 1 every single day. And every single lesson is going to last for approximately 30 minutes. You could do the sort of additional exercises and so on the app or on the platform, on the web platform, but I personally don't do them. I find that the audio lessons are really like the bulk, like the main component of the program, and the rest is sort of just, for people who really want to do it. But the first question I want to answer is it worth it? And the short answer here is absolutely yes. I've tried actually many methods for learning languages, and in my opinion, Pimsleur is one of the most effective methods for learning languages. Now, why is that? Why should you believe me on that? Well, the first reason is Pimsleur actually uses spaced repetitions. Essentially, when you learn a language, the one of the most important sort of aspects of learning that language is actually getting enough repetition of the same items, whether it be vocabulary words, whether it be phrases, grammatical points. If you don't get enough repetition of all of those items, you will actually forget them over time. It's completely useless for me to give you a list of, say, 100 words. You try to learn them, and maybe you retain 90% of them, but a week after, it's going to be much lower, 30%. And a month after, maybe you only remember 10%. So, in my personal experience, and I've seen many people actually try and fail to learn languages, one of the main sort of problems with their methods is that they don't have any kind of organized way of having reviewing the content that they have already learned. So they're like leaking buckets. And the Pimsleur approach actually has at its center, I would say, spaced repetition. So if you look at the graph here, basically on the first lesson, on the first day, you're going to be exposed to a conversation, through the audio lesson. And the conversation was built strategically so that you are exposed to certain grammatical constructs and certain words that are at your level, and you're exposed to them on day one, and then on day two, before you have time to forget them, you're actually going to review them, and then it's going to get spaced. So first day, second day, fourth day, week after, 2 weeks after. So I'm just giving you a random sort of interval, but you get the idea. Pimsleur organize the lessons not in a random way, but in a way that is spaced, so that it allows for you to have the optimal number of reviews at the right moments in time. And this is a very big deal. The second point as well that I wanted to make is that you're not just listening to the lessons with Pimsleur. You will be prompted to participate in the lesson. So there is a conversation going on in the lesson. Each lesson has one conversation, and in the beginning of the lesson, you're going to be listening to that lesson, and very progressively, they prompt you to participate, to answer the person speaking in Japanese, and so on. So there's a real element of participation here, and the reason why this is important is because it forces you to recall information that you have learned. And this is the second most important factor when it comes to language learning. You can't just learn a language and just listen to it and expect to actually remember a lot. What's going to happen is that if you just listen to it, the rate at which you will forget that information is going to be very quick. So that's what's called the depth of mental processing. If you actually try to recall something, a word in Japanese, and you actually manage to produce it, this word is going to stick in your memory for so much longer than if you were just to, listen to it once or twice. So, and Pimsleur, they do it very intentionally. They make you recall and participate in the lessons so that you can recall specific grammatical points, specific vocabulary words, and specific sort of pronunciation points as well. So this, combined with the spaced repetition, make it so that Pimsleur lessons are highly memorable. Believe me, you're going to go through an entire week of lessons, just 7 lessons, and you're going to know those lessons by heart for many weeks. If you just stopped there, you would actually remember those conversations, those lessons for many weeks, maybe for many months. And if you do the whole program, then you're pretty much guaranteed that you're going to remember all of the points that were made in the lesson for a long time. One very good point of Pimsleur that a lot of language programs do not have is that it's entirely audio-based. So you don't have to sit down and actually study with a textbook. You don't need to be active with your learning. And this is a big advantage for a lot of us who are, maybe you have a job, or you have other responsibilities, you don't have time to allocate to language learning. And so with Pimsleur, you just have a 30-minute lesson every single day. You can just listen to it while commuting, while working out, and you're basically two birds with one stone. And so it's very practical. So you're not likely to give up because it's not a big investment at all. And it's very effective at the same time. So the other point I wanted to make as well, the reason why Pimsleur is actually worth it is because there's a lot of vocabulary. I know that there have been some criticism about Pimsleur not actually giving enough vocabulary, but when you look at it, the Pimsleur website actually says that for each level, you're going to be exposed to about 300 to 500 new words. So for the Japanese course, that would be about, let's say on average, if we just cut it in half, 300 to 500 words. Let's say 400 for 5 levels. That's 400 times 5. That's 2,000 words. And 2,000 words actually can get you pretty far. If you just go on the internet and say 2,000 words, frequency, language, you'll see that actually the first it's not written here, but the most common 2,000 words in any language are actually the most common, and they're likely to occur about, let's say, 90% of the time. So if you have a conversation, 90% of that conversation is going to be made up from those 2,000 words. So it's going to get you to a level where you can actually understand about 90% of all the words in the conversation in Japanese, which is a lot. Now I want to talk about sort of what kind of results you can get with Pimsleur and in how much time. So if you do all of the levels, as I said, you're going to be learning about 400 words per level. That's 2,000 words in total for the 5 levels. This is going to get you to a point where you can understand about 90% of all words in a standard Japanese conversation, between two native speakers. In total, you're looking at 5 months or like 150 days, so that's not quite 5 months. But so it's a long period of time, 5 months. It's a commitment, but remember that it's only 30 minutes a day because every lesson you're supposed to consume 1 lesson a day. It's organized in that way. And it's only 30 minutes away, and you don't need to do it, actively. You can just listen to the lesson. So it's not a big time investment. It's pretty passive. You will know the main grammar of the Japanese language, not necessarily in an explicit way, in a way that you can actually say, oh, this is this grammar rule and so on. Pimsleur is much more intuitive. It's kind of like assimil, like the French learning method, where you're exposed to so many conversations and they repeat the same patterns in a way that you can understand. You will have a feel for those, for the main grammar of the language. So that's not a problem. So again, to come back on the 2,000 word thing, if you know 2,000 words, this is going to equal to about a B1 level. And so this is basically like the European sort of language level framework, A1, A2, B1, B2. And so if you actually learn the 2,000 words in the Pimsleur Japanese course, this would take you to about a B1 level in Japanese. And in my opinion, it's actually a pretty good level where you can have fluent conversations and fun conversations with native speakers. Now, on a personal note, I actually went to, the French school system, and I'm pretty sure that after 7 years of learning English, a lot of the guys that are in high school, 7 years of English classes, they're not at a B1 level because classes are not structured as well as Pimsleur. It's just, it's the school system. So who has ever become fluent in Spanish or any language using the school system? Some people, I guess, but it hasn't been very effective for me. So if you compare Pimsleur and the school system, it's going to be a lot more effective because you're doing it daily. It takes care of spaced repetition, of depth of mental processing. It's audio-based. It's not a big commitment, and it's just so well engineered. All right, so now let's talk about the price because it's a big, I think for a lot of people, it's going to be way too expensive to actually go on the website here to purchase Pimsleur Japanese, the 5 levels for almost $600. Actually, there's a way you can go around this. I'm pretty sure that not a lot of people know about this because it's not advertised on the Pimsleur website, and they don't go out of their way to advertise this sort of plan. But even at this price point, at $575, I still think that for a lot of people, it would be worth it to buy it at that price point, because if you compare, taking let's say a semester of university classes in Japanese versus, Pimsleur Japanese. And I don't know how much a course like this in Japanese would cost at a university, but my guess is that it would be even more expensive than that in, the US education system. If I compare Pimsleur Japanese and a university course, there's no way that you're reaching the level that you're going to reach with Pimsleur Japanese with a university class. I mean, this is like way better, and you can do it only 30 minutes a day on your own time while commuting, and it's fun. It's not like you don't actually need to go anywhere. So in my opinion, it would be worth it even at this price point. Now, you don't need to buy it at this price point. As I said, there's actually another plan which is not advertised on the website. It varies about, like $15 to $20 monthly. You can get a subscription, so you will not have lifetime access to the audio lesson like you would have if you paid the full $575. But if you click on the link in the description, this will lead you to a page where you can get a subscription, so a monthly subscription to Pimsleur Japanese or any other language that you want to learn for that matter. And this is going to cost you about $15 to $20 monthly. I think you can also pay a little bit more, like $1 more per month, and you will get access to all of the language on the Pimsleur platform. The downside of this is that you're not going to have lifetime access to the lessons, but I don't think this is a big problem. I mean, once you've been through the whole program, you're going to move on to something else. You're unlikely to forget any of the lessons because, as I said, spaced repetition, very good memorization. So in my opinion, this is not a problem. So this is how you get the best price for Pimsleur Japanese. Just click the link in the description and let me know how you like Pimsleur Japanese. So that's it for this video. If you liked the video, then please like it and let a comment in the comment section, and I'll see you in the next video.